Leroy Cruz here, your life applications officer. Watching these police sheriff shows here on YouTube, and there's one that I have just subscribed to, became a fan of. It's one of them cop shows, where it's all about 100 things that, people get tased for, And, I'm going to have to pause this because if I don't pause it, it'll distract me. Pause that. Anyway, I've been watching this new guy on YouTube. And I'm not going to mention the officer's name, but he has his own reality show. And it is real. It's real. It's a real show. And I can tell it's a real show because one of the things that he does on the show is dangerous because everybody doesn't want to be in the camera. Like everybody that works on his force, on his team. He does bail bonds and he's like with the sheriff's department. Everybody doesn't want to be part of the show. And I know that he's out here making it look like he's taking all these people by himself, but his backup don't want to be in front of the camera. And now this year, 2019, he's kept a lot of people on the show. And there was a black guy. I don't know if he came later this year or if he's before, but I like the black guy that gets on the show because he's good for the show. The show is not acting; it's real. Real tactical police work, but they try to do it in a way of a reality show, and they, somebody walk up on, if I'm in trouble with the law for some minor offense or whatever, and I didn't know you was coming, and then you bring the cameras with you and put me on national TV, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? That right there alone will increase someone to react. When you come over my house to tell me that I'm wrong about something, but then you bring cameras, like what are the cameras for? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I wonder if it is staged because a lot of times when you got 2 cameramen on every show following these officers around. Now I had thought that on the show Cops, on a TV show Cops, I thought they used body cams. And then they connect those body cams to a computer or something and really blow the thing up to its reality, but and fix the lighting and everything. That's what I thought. But here they show, you see the cameraman running around, taking down every word, every cuss word, everything these suspects are saying. Yeah, that would make you want to hit a police officer when he's got camera backup instead of police backup. Anyway, getting to it, he's this one show that was mostly earlier this year for 2019. He has a female officer on there. And whenever I see women in uniform, whether it be anything that requires a woman to handle herself in a very aggressive way with people, I watch these women closely. And I've seen women that are in the government. I've seen women that are, and I'm not including black women, because black women, that's a whole different animal. Okay? A black woman will tell any man. I mean, a black woman will throw the first punch, and get her little self killed. But I'm watching these women, and I've seen women in government, Asian women, white women. I see them in government. I see them, working with social work and everything, working with hard criminals and everything else, working on a police force, working in the military. You know what I'm saying? The best action that I've ever seen was back when many years ago, when I was married, and my ex-wife, my wife at the time, me and her used to get in domestic, brawls together, and she's a black woman, and when we got into domestic brawls, she liked to get physical. Pretty much like one of these episodes I saw on here today. She'd like to get physical. It always had to be physical. It couldn't just be, she couldn't beat me at arguing. She wanted to get physical. There was one time, when my girls were little, that me and her got into a domestic argument, and I was afraid to leave one of my daughters with her. And they brought on a female officer. She wasn't even really armed. Like, especially like these women today, she wasn't armed with a taser, and she might have had a gun on her somewhere, I don't know, but she didn't have her taser and cuffs on her and the whole shebang. She didn't have the whole utility belt on her. You know what I'm saying? She had on a big old, coat that said police on it, and she walked in and she calmed my wife down, and she spoke to her lady to lady, and she calmed her down. Okay. And after they cleared the house and everything, and she was able to get my wife to put my daughter back in the house because it was chilly outside at night. And, we're fighting, and the kids are in the middle of it. Now I got one of my kids outside in the cold in a diaper. It just really looked bad for us. But she was able to talk to my ex and get her to come to her senses and bring my daughter back in the house. And I was getting ready to, go in there and get some clothes and take my daughter with me. Now, I don't know where I was going to go. I had a little bit of money on her. Maybe I could get a hotel or something. I don't know. But, her acting crazy, I was going to take my daughter with me. And then the lady officer felt that was the best thing until, my wife got emotional about it. And I was hoping that she'd keep my daughter overnight, because what am I supposed to do with her? I mean, what am I supposed to do? Buy a hotel just for my daughter? Like, what am I supposed to do? I'm running the street because we can't get along. So I'm out on the street, spending the night on a park bench somewhere all night. What am I supposed to do with a girl that's barely out of Pampers? But the lady officer, I was totally impressed with the way she handled my wife and my children that night. I was totally impressed. But today, and like on this film right here, how often do you see policewomen actually take down a man in self-defense? How often do you see a woman take down a man in self-defense? Even in these reality shows, even in shows like Cops, how often do you see a woman take down a criminal with her bare hands? How often do you see that? And I know from taking karate lessons when I was in Job Corps and taking Act 235 training, lethal weapons training, things of that nature. I've never seen women do what they're actually being paid to do in the armed forces or law enforcement. I've never seen them do what they actually paid to do. This show right here, the leader of the team got taken down by one of the suspects. He's on top of him. She waited for the other male officer, to come in and pull him off of him. And then even after they ended up struggling the man loose and flipping him over and getting him in position on the floor, she still didn't know what to do. She was still afraid to touch the man. She finally went behind him and pulled his feet when she seen he wouldn't cooperate. She tried to grab his feet. And I watch all these episodes of Cops, all the episodes of Cops. I only remember one cop. She was just one cop that was, a big woman. She was a big woman. And I seen her tase a dude over and over and over and over and over again. She tased him to take him down. Seen another episode here on YouTube where this gentleman kept walking up on this police officer trying to talk to her about why he was innocent. She showed up. She was the first responder to the scene. He's trying to talk to her. She was sore afraid of him. And after so many feet, she tased him. When he wasn't trying to do anything but explain. Now, I gotta admit, okay, stop walking. Stop right there. I understand that. But all my life, I've never seen women take down and restrain a man, even if her life depended on it. I can name on my hands how many women I've seen actually take men down with their bare hands. One of them being with a gun. Okay? High school shooting. Cop was off duty, happened to be at the school because she got kids, or she got nephews and nieces to go to that school or something. She was there, and gentleman walked in, had a gun, tried to take hostages. She put him down. Very heroic. She stood right in front of him and asked him to put the gun down before he could notice that she was standing there. And when he drew to shoot her, she took him down. She took him down. Bravo. Well done, ma'am. Well done. Well done. But that's with a gun. That's with a gun. And even Ronda Rousey, one of the best names that ever existed for females in the UFC. Okay? She had a boyfriend that she was so afraid of. And you know what I'm talking about. I forget the fighter's name. But he was in the MMA too. But she was a higher ranking than him. She made more money than him. She was more of a superstar than him. She had a higher belt in jiu-jitsu and judo than he did. But yet, she filed abuse charges against him. Okay? And they broke up, and he spent some time in jail. And then finally, now whatever, he's out of the UFC. He's doing something else. I think they kicked him out of UFC or something, but he was her boyfriend. Matter of fact, I think there was more than one boyfriend that she had. While she was a martial artist and one of the biggest female superstars in America, she was afraid of her own boyfriend. She was calling the cops on her own boyfriend. That stuff where she did. Now this is the woman that took down two men in a restaurant. What were these guys? 4 feet tall? Like, she took out two men in a restaurant, but she was afraid of her boyfriend. And she had scars to prove it. To prove why she was afraid of her boyfriend. Okay? Even Ronda Rousey. Did you know that the very first or the very second, she was either the very first or one of the very first policewomen to become a female police officer was beaten and raped and killed while wearing a uniform. She was beaten brutally. She was brutally raped by one man, just one, if I understand the story, and she was also killed with her own gun. Okay? Either the very first one or the second one to become a female police officer. And I could take you places. I could do the math and add up the stories. Okay? We live in a world today where getting to the point, we live in a world today where we practice where we are so busy at making everybody equal. We're so busy trying to make everybody equal. Okay? But yet, women don't do their job in a situation where there is enough men. She will assist, but she won't step forward and do the job the way the men will do it. And this is not only in the police force, but this is in many jobs that require manual dexterity and manual strength, manual, activation, require you to do a lot of lifting and, things of that nature. But the biggest thing is in the physical world. And we say that men and women are equal, but yet you don't see women honestly, truly trying to play football on the male football team. You don't really see women trying to play hockey or basketball, especially with the men. Women like to have their own stuff. Even in the volleyball world. I remember I'm a guy, even though I'm really small, I love volleyball. I mean, I love to jump up there and hit that ball and hit it over that net. I love volleyball. You want to see me go into an asthma attack? Put me on a volleyball field. Put me in front of the volleyball net and put some people on the other side. And you'll see me, I will burn some calories. I love me some volleyball. Okay? I love me some volleyball. I love to get out there with the females and play volleyball. I love to get out there with the men and play volleyball. I love to get out there with the kids and play volleyball. As long as you can play, as long as you can keep that ball going back and forth over that net, to the point where my little behind got to run after it and burn some calories going after it, I'm happy. I love it. I love volleyball. I love me some volleyball. But even on the volleyball field, who's the one that's always saying, you cheated? I remember last time my ex-wife came to a church picnic, and we set up a volleyball net, and we played out on the field, out on the organic field. We had to keep switching sides because one part on one side, it wasn't perfectly level because we were out in the kind of out in the woods playing, volleyball, little Christian, church / school up there in a part of PA we call Slate Lick. I love it up there. It's beautiful up there. But we were playing volleyball out on the school campus, which none of the ground is level, So we just kept switching sides so everybody had a fair chance to play both sides of the net and get the feel. But I remember my ex, she kept wanting to move back our foul line and keep moving hers forward, and kept telling us we were cheating because she was losing. And there was mostly men on my team and some kids versus mostly women on her team. We had little girls, little teeny boppers and stuff like that. Little 12-year-olds, little 10-year-olds, 9-year-olds and stuff like that on our team. But we had one big strong man over there and mostly women on her team. One big tall strong man that did all the work basically. Now, there's women over there his size, but they didn't do all the work. He was doing all the work. I mean, he was burning the energy, tripping over shoestrings, falling on his head. You all right, brother? You know. And these women, they just, oh, I missed it. It didn't come to me. It didn't come. Well, it doesn't come to you, sweetheart. You got to go after it. You gotta get in front of it. As it's coming over, you got to line it up and get in front of it. Okay? You got to get in front of it. You can't just, you know. And here you go. Oh, we're cheating. We're cheating. We're always cheating. You're gonna come over my side of the net and move our foul line further back and move yours forward. You know. And I went and got a ruler and measured it, but we're still cheating. I said, hold up. You can see, a 5-year-old can see that you got the lines that our line is further back than yours. I went and got a yardstick. I got my yardstick out of the car. Yard tape, actually. And I measured it for her. And everybody was like on her case. You got to put that back. You got to put that back. She won the argument. You know, one of my pastor friends, big old guy, he says, let her have it. Let her have it. We're going to still win it. We're going to kick their butt anyway. Let them cheat. You know, let them cheat. Even after I measured the distances, they weren't equal. But, and that's the way it seems in the world today with us trying to be equal about everything. We're never equal. The measurements, the balances don't weigh equal. Okay? And when women claim that they're equal to men, men have to pull something back. Just like in that game of volleyball, they have to move their foul line forward, or move ours back or something, so that they can keep up with us. And I watched, again, several police women. You know, they go, you know, if you, and even on television, you know, you watch a show like Law and Order, Criminal Intent, you know what I mean? Or you watch Blue Bloods or something. It's like, what do the women do? Besides look beautiful. What do they do? You know. I get bored with shows where the guy is always in charge and the woman is just there to look beautiful. But on the flip of that, I get totally bored with shows where you got these women who are basically feminists, who think that they, they think that they can beat Leroy Jeffro Gibbs. You know what I mean? I'll do a video on him one of these days soon, too. And it's funny how even on NCIS, there's always parts where women can break Leroy Jeffro Gibbs. But none of the men can. And he treats the men like, you better run up under that table and crawl, or I'm going to make you wish you had. And he's just getting older and older and older and older. You know, the only thing he's got is his ego. He doesn't really have the speed and the stamina and the strength and the youthfulness to put his money where his mouth is. He's got a big mind and a lot of guts. Okay? But in real life, in real life, he'd be in the office. He wouldn't even be out on the road all the time chasing suspects. He'd be in the office in real life. And in real life, that's the way it is. You know, and in real life, a lot of these women, you know, they say that they can do our job. You know, they're not built for it. You know, they ain't practicing for it. But we're equal. We're always equal. We're always equal. You got men that, you know, and, you know, you got men that will go to the shooting range and take self-defense classes and all that for their job. And these women, a lot of them, they won't do the same. They'll just they're just proud to have this job. You know. But then on the flip of that, what about the men? Now, women aren't trying to, even women that are transgender men, aren't really trying to get out there and play sports with men. Like these faggots are trying to jump in there and beat women in sports. We got these, and that's what I call them because I think it's so ignorant what they're doing. You know, we got these faggots in the Olympics playing next to women and beating these women at everything, beating these women at races, beating these women at tournaments of all sorts and everything. Anything that takes muscle and speed. They're beating these women. And some of these women are like, well, these are not really real women. These are men who are so faggish that they would rather come beat us instead of beating people in their own class, which would be a male. And even though you may try to, even though you're transgender, you're still a male. Okay? Still a man. And it's just sad. You know, you see all these shows on TV and women are brainwashed. Not all women, but a lot. Half of them are brainwashed to think that they are equal to men. Men don't think that they're equal to women until they become gay. You don't see nothing but gay men who think that they're equal to women. That they can do everything a woman can do. They can be as smart as a woman. They can have the right touch and the right amount of love and appreciation like a woman does. The right amount of nurture and raise kids like a woman. I'm sorry, sir. You can be as much of a faggot as you want to be. But you cannot compete with a woman in her own chromosomes. A man cannot compete with a woman's chromosome, and a woman cannot compete with a man's. Women aren't wired sexually like men. Women aren't wired physically like men. Women aren't wired aggressively like men. Oh, you can put on some clothes and cut your hair and wear men's clothes and make yourself look like, the new macho shot boy on the block all you want. You're going to be busted when you when you hang out with real men and try to do real man things. Just like recently in my life, a good friend of mine, we just found out that he is actually a woman. That's as most I'm going to say about it. A good friend of mine, I just found out that he is actually a woman. And I always wonder why he always isolates himself. Or why he isolates himself at certain times of day and from everybody, and why you can't talk about anything in front of him, and why he gets so mad if you make fun of some guy coming in there and trying to look like a girl, and he's sucking at it, we make fun of people like that, and this girl gets so offended by it. But finding out more and more and more and more that that's not really a guy, that's a woman. That's a woman. And she doesn't know that we know. That her friends know that, and we, every day, we talk to her the way she wants to be talked to. We use the pronoun she wants to be used. We call her by her new name. We didn't find out what the old name is. But we call her by her new name. Okay? But we all know, sweetheart, that you're not a guy. You are not a guy. Now I understand why you're so weird. Why you say crazy things like, there's too many penises in this room. Too much testosterone in this room. Wait a minute, you going to say that to a guy and think that he's not going to get suspicious? Why can't we just be honest and let ourselves be what God created us to be? But this is why I'm doing these status quo videos, because there's too much of us trying to pull away from the fossil that we came from. It's beautiful. This skin that we are in, our races and our colors, and white people acting like white people and black people acting like... No. Skip that. White people acting like white people and these immigrants acting like immigrants. Okay? It's beautiful. Okay? Black folks should act like black folks way back. Way back. Going centuries back. This new way black people are acting today. They always got to be the loudest person, the loudest group of people in any building, in any park, in any hospital, in any restaurant, in any club. They got to be the loudest ones. They got to be the silliest ones. And they also got to be the ones that are quick to get tempered and angry and start a fight. Okay? So, I'm not going to say black people acting like black people is beautiful, because it's not. Black people need to act like Americans. However, Americans acting like Americans within their races and their true genders is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. But no, everything from our skin tone we're ashamed of today. We got to tattoo it up, and we're so, we look in the mirror and we see ourselves so ugly, we got to put a kill switch on our nose. I wish I could push that button and shut half these women up. Okay? Just, when they yabba 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 yabba, just push that button right there. Click. But really, honestly though, too much pulling away from the fossil that we all came from. Okay? I mean, even if we did came from evolution, I think the apes are pissed off at us. I think the apes are looking at us when we go to the zoo. And they're thinking, oh, these stupid humans, man, they're so stupid. You know what I'm saying? You know, I think any animal that's in a lab or anything, I think they got to think that humans got to be the dumbest species on the planet. Like, you know. I mean, you ever have your dog just look at you and go, like, are you that dumb? Are you that stupid? You know. Oh, Lord. Oh, I love it. So that was another episode of Status Quo. Tell me what you think. I'm having fun with this. I just think that we need to get back to the day when women, before women's lived, before the feminist movement, before this transgender garbage is the bottom line here. I think if we could just get back to the days when women were proud to be women, where men were proud to be men. No room for nobody looking in the mirror thinking that he was a woman in a man's body or a man in a woman's body. Wasn't no time for that. Because you was too busy being a man or too busy being a woman or learning what that means. But today, you think your size 16 shoe, okay, and your fat head and your hands about as big as your feet, you think that you're going to pull a woman out of that. You think you're going to just call yourself a woman because you can't get it up or something. So you must be a woman. I think that I said this in another video. I think that's totally disrespectful to men and women. When women and men think that they can be them just by dressing like them or learning how to act like them. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like a mockery on what a real woman is or a real man is. It's kind of like mockery. It's mockery is what it is. When you think that all you need to do is dress up and cross-dress and grow some hair to be a different gender. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just mockery. Is what it is. So anyway, I'm D-Roy Cruz, your Life Applications Officer. That's something to think about. I can't do these status quo videos without throwing that in there. I had to throw that in there, do a video on that. So God bless you. I'll see you soon with more. Stay tuned.